It's time to get back to football as we welcome you to the SHS Guidance Office on this Thursday afternoon. The 2016 OHSAA football season kicks off this week as Springboro will be at Mason for their season opener this Friday night. Today, we are pleased to have welcome on the set Panthers head coach Ryan Wilhite. Coach, it is a great pleasure.
Thanks, Frank. Nice to meet you.
To see you. Nice meeting you as well. As I am sure you are ready, eagerly awaiting the start of the season. I first want to ask you, what are you most excited about this upcoming season?
Well, I would say just the fact to be getting back involved in football again. It's a sport that myself, our coaches, our players are all very passionate about. So anytime that first August Friday night rolls around, it's always good to get out of the preseason and the weightlifting and the running and get into playing some football.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you said last year, and I can definitely feel your excitement for that. And last year, you guys enjoyed your most successful season in team history, highlighted by the first ever Division I playoff win.
Right.
Quarterback Elijah Cunningham set the all-time school passing yards record. Both he and Nick Kovacs were named AP All-State. And you had 7 players sign national letters of intent to go play football at the next level in college. And even though your season ended with a 52-21 loss to Wayne in the regional quarterfinals, what kind of impact was placed on the offseason as a result of that?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, the idea of anytime you end your season with a loss, that's always motivation to continue to go back to work for all the guys that are returning. So we felt that, and there was an understanding around our program that the bar has been raised, and that winning in the playoffs is something that's possible here at Springboro, and was certainly an enjoyable experience and one our guys would like to repeat.
I'm sure that they would, and you touched on returning players. Well, you guys are returning how many starters on defense? All of them, or a majority of them?
We returned 5 starters on defense.
5 starters on defense, still 5, and then offensively Nick Kovacs and running back Liam Foley are returning, both All-State candidates, along with Tyler Tischler and Dylan Jones, who contributed greatly to the team last year. A big shoe to fill, however, is the departure of Cunningham.
Yeah, absolutely. And today's spread offenses, which is what we run, quarterback is certainly an important piece of the puzzle, and that guy drives our offense. So Brody Maley and Cameron Roundtree, both 2 guys that have been doing a great job in that role in the preseason. So we'll go into this game with those guys working at that spot.
So do you have a definite starting quarterback yet?
Well, they've both taken reps throughout the summer and throughout this week, and I think it's something that you could potentially expect to see both of them play.
Wow. So have you seen anything that would make you think that with the torch being passed to them, that they could both be in for a very good season?
I do. I think that this is the second year that we've been running an up-tempo offense. I think Elijah certainly did a great job of leading us down this path. But I think that both those guys learned a lot last year, and so from a tempo perspective, or the speed with which we play, I'd say we're probably ahead of where we've been in the past. Now, as far as the ball placement, as far as the arm strength, making the throws, making those decisions, Elijah was good. So time will tell how these guys are going to do.
Yeah. And looking at the schedule this season, the big thing to point out is, and I don't know how many people are making a big deal of this, is the realignment in the G-Walk.
Yeah.
And you guys are still in the same division with Miamisburg and Lebanon. Who could you say those are the 2 biggest rivalries to Springboro?
I would throw Centerville in that category as well. Yeah.
And Northmont's also going to be, and it's called the National West.
Right.
So the 2 biggest rivals, and then Centerville, you guys play them this year. Are there other results to you from this alignment that stand out?
Well, I think that first of all, there's an opportunity to be the first ever GWalk West champions. So there's never been a GWalk West, so we would love to be the team that claimed that first title. And then, I think that the other part of the alignment that changes is that our crossover games are significant now. We play Centerville, Beaver Creek, and Fairmont that are all out of the newly formed GWalk East, and those guys, no question, will be very big challenges. So what the old GWalk South that we had known isn't the same anymore. So our schedule is certainly tougher than it's been.
And the schedule this year, like you said, you have opponents that maybe we haven't seen in years past, like Fairmont, and then you also have Middletown.
Yeah.
And I read that that's the first ever time that those two teams are going head to head, so it's kind of a unique.
Yeah,
matchup there.
the two communities join each other. You know, Springboro, and Middletown butt up against each other, and have played in basketball and maybe other sports. But the long history of the Middletown Middies and Springboro now having, this is our 51st football season, and excited to be a part of that. The two programs have never met.
That's definitely going to be unique. And then Witten Woods, who doesn't normally get placed on the schedule, they're on it this year.
Yeah.
Is there any matchups or are there that stand out to you?
Yeah, I think the first one is certainly significant. I think that, when you start talking about rivalries, I think that Mason is becoming in that discussion as well. We've played Mason for the past 7 years, and actually played them 8 times in those 7 years, because we played them twice last year. And the two schools are really even. When you look at the records and you look at the way things have gone, it's always a very close game. Very well attended by both communities, and I think that starts to develop a rivalry. So it's a great matchup week 1. I would highlight Centerville. I would highlight Miamisburg. They're a team that beat us last year in a really close game, and they've got a lot returning, so that's going to be a tough game. And Lebanon's always going to be a big game for us. I would hate for there to come a day that Springboro and Lebanon didn't get just people absolutely excited to play anything, whether it's checkers or football or anything in between. It's important. Yeah.
Yeah, and I read something on the Springboro website about 2 years ago that the Springboro Mason game is called the Battle of 741, and I can kind of get why. Those
Yep. No question.
two big schools in the area. So, do you think the media will have their attention on any of them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that the game is televised by a public access cable channel. The Mason game is. Our Centerville game is going to be a part of the first ever Fox 45 ABC 22 Thursday Night Lights. So we're the game of the week. That game will be broadcast on ABC, Fox 45, live that night on Thursday night. And then the following week we play on a Thursday night at Beaver Creek, and that game is being broadcast by Time Warner statewide. So that is the Time Warner statewide game of the week is Springboro Beaver Creek. So yeah, we've certainly got some big stages to play on this year for our football team.
And that's definitely a good thing to get your team, marketed and show what you guys can do.
Yeah.
And the last 4 years for you guys have been very successful. With 4 OHSA Division I playoff appearances,
Right.
3 league titles, overall record 37-8, sending multiple players to play at the D1 level in college. You're going in your 12th season as head coach. 11th?
Right.
Excuse me, this team.
Right.
So what standards have you set as far as expectations?
Right. Well, I certainly think there's a good history here before I came, and what was kind of significant is when I got here was our first year in the GWAC, and it was also our first year as a Division I school. And I think that's a huge jump to make, and I think that that's something we've had to grow into. But over time, with a lot of hard work from our players and coaches, we've developed a culture around here where success is expected. And at the same time, we also understand that success is not given or granted. So you have to work for that, but you don't want to accept anything less than that. So we take it one step at a time. We've certainly continued to upgrade our schedule, trying to get teams like Centerville and Mason always on our schedule, in addition to our traditional rivals like Lebanon and Miamisburg, and now Northmont coming into our league, which has got a long history of successful football, and then scheduling teams like Middletown out of the GMC. Those are stages that we want to play in, getting an opportunity to play against Wayne in a playoff game. Very, very proud of where our program has come, but also understand that every year is a new challenge and a new group of players, and they have to start from square one and build a name for themselves as well.
Is that for just you guys, or is that for the football program in general, going all the way down to the youth stages?
Yeah, I think so. I think that we've done it's pretty neat as we've been here for the course of 11th year. There are guys that are coming through our program who were Pee Wee players when we first started, if you think about that. We try to have our players involved with our youth players, let them know that they're part of this program. Our junior high program has been successful these years as well. Dave Stuckey is back as our freshman coach, who is a legendary name, former head coach at the varsity level, and very successful freshman coach for us. And so I think those guys are excited. Yeah, it's a program-wide thing.
Yeah, and that's always a good thing. So, if you could describe this team, this is the final question, by the way, in 3 words, which words would you use?
Well, the first word that I would use would be challenged, because I think that our guys have to realize and have been reminded that the bar that has been set for them is very, very high. And we cannot overestimate the power of, with success comes expectations. And so we are challenged to meet those expectations. The next thing that I would say would be experienced, because there are certainly players that you've talked about, Dylan Jones, Liam Foley, Nick Kovacs, Ethan Miller. Those are guys who played significant roles on teams last year, and so they're going to be counted on in that. And then the third one I would say would be empowered. And empowered kind of comes from the teams that have come before us. They've shown us the way. They have empowered us, as you talked about, those last 4 years. These guys were all either on that team or in junior high, and seeing what those varsity teams have done. And hopefully that has empowered them to realize what their potential can be, and that they want to live up to those expectations as well.
I would imagine. And all right, Coach, we thank you as always for sitting down with us. Just as a reminder for all of you, you can view this interview on our newspaper website. That's www.shsroar.com. And from the SHS Guidance Office, we're alongside head coach Ryan Wilhite. I am Alex Frank. Remember, this is my quote, by the way, you're always playing a sport, and that's life. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Great, thank you.